Simple Switch Control Part 2, a demonstration of simple switch control on an iPad using switch accessible apps or books. So firstly from my screen you'll see in the middle I have some bookmarks in a folder, and these are bookmarks from the websites that I highlighted in video 1. Putting a bookmark on your home screen is easy to do, so if I can just demonstrate that for you. Within Safari, this is a website that I want to bookmark on my home screen, and on the right hand side top I would upload and then scroll along and just add that to my home screen. And what it does is it has the effect of recording these websites on your home screen. They look like apps, but obviously if I press the website it will bring me to that website. So having a look at some of the paid for apps with built-in switch control, I've identified 2, Soundbox and Lightbox. Firstly, Soundbox. When you open that app, you will see that there is a settings cog on the top right hand side. And if I click on the settings cog, I've changed one of the controls. So on the left hand side, Soundbox control options. Right at the bottom, I've switched on the keyboard switch. So if I click back, I'm about to select one of the activities. The switch interface that I am using is the applicator switch, and I've simply inserted a standard switch into slot 1. And for this app, it's going to act like a keyboard, almost pressing the space bar. So here we go. So each time I pressed the switch, something happened on the screen, and that was simply by setting up the switch control within the app. Sensory Lightbox. Open up those apps. Go into Settings at the top right hand side. If you look at the left hand side of the choices, Lightbox Control Options. Down at the bottom, Legacy Switch. I've switched that on. I'm going to press back at the top right hand side, and I'm going to select which of these functions or facilities I'm going to use. Again, my switch is acting like pressing space in a keyboard. And each time I press space, something would happen within that snowflake option. Free switch accessible apps. I've found a few. There's not many of them out there. If we have a look at the ones I've found, Turtle Invaders. Again, there's an option section, and you can go into settings, and within those settings you can make some changes. I'm going to turn the music off. There's nothing specific that tells you to attach a switch here, it just automatically happens. So I'm now going to start a new game, and by pressing my switch I can fire. So Turtle Invaders, fairly easy to set up and use. Forest Fire, same as Turtle Invaders. By pressing the switch I'm going to fire, but it does have an option section also. I'm going to turn off the music. No mention of switches here. I start the game. When I press the switch, the aeroplane drops down water. Forest Fighter. Move It Colours. I like this game. So there is a setting options for Move It Colours. And there is an option to have sound on or sound off. We'll go for sound off. And you can select the colours. So at the moment I have aliens that are blue and yellow. And I'll make a pink one too. You can adjust the speeds of the aliens and the playtime. And if I now start. So the object of the game is to press the switch when the alien of that colour is in the pod. So I'm going to press it now. There we go. Nothing happens if I get it wrong, but if I get it right, the alien changes colour. Simply with a press of the switch. Touch Me Pairs. So again, a setting cog. Go into settings. Now this one, for some reason, seems to go back to using German. So I just always go into general settings and make sure I choose English at the start of the game. You can choose the number of pairs. You can decide whether you want an image on or off, the sound on or off, the text on or off. And if you go into handling in this app, then it's important within handling that you say you're using a switch. So on the right hand side near the bottom, scanning switch 1, I've got a tick there. Once I'm done, I'm going to Touch Me Pairs, play, and it's actually scanning through these automatically. I'm not touching anything at the moment. And once I touch something, I then get the scanning running through again. And there we go. Touch Me Pairs. Fairly straightforward. The Choose It Maker app is free, but in order to use the Choose It Maker app, you have to have a subscription for Choose It Maker, an annual subscription, and that will allow you to make up games for children to play with Switch access. Switch Invaders is a paid-for app. It's similar to Turtle Invaders and Forest Fighter. Basically, if you press the switch, it will shoot. And Switch Kids Lite, it was mentioned as being a Switch accessible app. The Lite version doesn't seem to be Switch accessible. It only seems to be touchscreen accessible. So if I touch the screen, you get the general idea. So that's the Switch accessible apps that I've used. There's not many apps out there that are Switch accessible, but if you are using them, it's very simple to attach your Switch. Attaching the Switch was simply done going through settings, Bluetooth, finding the Praetorian device and connecting it. I certainly didn't go into anything else. I didn't go into the Switch settings within the iOS. Just connected the Bluetooth device. So the other thing that you can do with a Switch is to interact with books. And within those websites identified earlier, you should be able to find books which could be downloaded for the print disabled pupil. And once you've downloaded them, The easiest thing that I've found to do is to put them into iBooks. So if we have a look at iBooks, you'll see that I actually have a few books already there. So the first one is Awful Auntie, and that was from the RNLB site, Load to Learn site, which I downloaded the book from. And then just by pressing the space, the people can turn the pages. Now the book is not being read, but it is allowing participation because the pupil is in charge of turning those pages. And because there are quite a few illustrations in this book, it's quite a nice one. Mrs. Wilson's Accident, another one that I've downloaded. Again, pressing the switch moves things forward. Now that was from the site SPELD SA, which is one of the sites that's been mentioned in the previous video. Butterfly Lion, Michael Morpurgo book, which I have managed to get from Books for All. And again, pressing the space bar moves you forward a page. Another example of a book. This one was from Seeing Ear, I think. Now, this one has got quite a few pictures in it. Obviously some text not being read, but the switch is moving those pictures forward. And again, one from SPELD, again predominantly a pictorial book. And the pupil is able to control those pages by pressing the switch. So that's all done within iBooks. Some of the websites I've highlighted to you would allow you to download something for the Sounding Board app. So books from the Scottish Books Award, you can download boards for participation in Sounding Board, and they've set it up so that it will scroll through the symbols and the people can interact by clicking on
Mummy.
the necessary symbol.
Yuck. Little owl.
And that is using the Sounding Board app. There are many other sensory apps, some of which I've shown here. Unfortunately, these apps do not have inbuilt switch control, so using these apps would just be by touching the screen rather than pressing a switch. And there are many radio type apps, but again, I can't find one that has inbuilt switch control. So again, you would have to use the controls on the screen and touch the screen, or alternatively, set up switch control from within the iPad by going into Settings, Accessibility Switch Control, and turning on the switch control to control the iPad in order to control that radio facility. So hopefully you found this useful. Simply Bluetoothing the applicator to the iPad using one switch and making use of apps which already have inbuilt switch control, or downloading books and then uploading them to iBooks and pressing the switch to turn the pages, or from the sites, downloading some files which are already Sounding Board files and using the switch to work through the symbols. I hope you found this demonstration of simple switch control useful. Thank you for watching.